Hello you all, welcome back to the Lightford house. Today we're making sugar cookies. So if you want to go ahead and pause right here and take a screenshot of this. This is the recipe that we're going to use, and we're going to need 1.5 cups of butter softened. It doesn't specify if it's salted or unsalted. So I do have 3 sticks of salted butter here, which is 1.5 cups, and I've had this sitting out on the counter just softening, or you could also soften it in the microwave. 2 cups of sugar, 4 eggs, vanilla extract, flour, baking powder, and salt. And then here are our instructions. So we're basically going to mix everything in the mixer. I'm going to be using my stand mixer today, but you could also use a hand mixer. Preheat the oven to 400, and we're going to bake these for 6 to 8 minutes. All right, so I've got my stand mixer here. What I'm going to do is start off by creaming together the butter. We need 1.5 cups, so that's 3 sticks of butter. Mine is salted, but I don't think it really matters because it doesn't say exactly. So I've had this sitting out on the counter for about 30 minutes. We're going to need 2 cups of white sugar. And if you want to, you could also cut this recipe in half. I've done that before as well because it does make a lot of cookies. Alright, so we've got our butter in there. We're going to add to that our 2 cups of sugar. It's about good enough right there. Alright, we're going to turn this on and let the mixer do all the work for us. Just start mixing that together. Once this is creamed, we're going to add our eggs and vanilla. And then lastly, we're going to put our flour in. We need 5 cups of flour, and we're going to add that in 1 cup at a time so that it doesn't dry out our dough. So I'll be right back with you when it's time to add the eggs and vanilla. Alright, so once it looks like this and it's kind of creamed together, we are going to add in our vanilla. And I just measure the vanilla, just eyeball it. We're going to need a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And who measures vanilla? That's about good for the vanilla. Then we're going to have to add 4 eggs in here. And I am going to grab a little spatula so that I can scrape down the sides of my bowl here in a moment. These are so easy to throw together. They don't require a whole bunch of ingredients. And my husband loves these cookies. We also have to add our baking powder in as well and our salt before we add the flour. All right, we're gonna mix in the eggs and vanilla. Scrape down the sides. Get all that butter and sugar mixed in. All right, we'll finish mixing this up real good. And once it's all mixed together, we're gonna add in our teaspoon of salt and 2 teaspoons of baking powder, not baking soda. Make sure it's baking powder. And then we'll get our flour in here. It's looking good. I'm gonna add in a teaspoon of salt. Good enough. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then we're going to add our flour in 1 cup at a time. That's good enough. Baking powder. Mix that in. All right, now I'm going to add in the flour. 5 cups. I'm just using all-purpose flour. And start by mixing it on low so that flour doesn't fly all over the place. all mixed together. So once that's mostly mixed in, I'll add in second cup. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and finish mixing in all the flour, and then we will get this rolled out on the counter. All right, everything is mixed up. Now I'm gonna flour my clean counter and put the dough out on the counter. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 400. If you're not cutting these out with cookie cutters, then you can go ahead and preheat your oven before you mix everything together. But I just let it heat up as I'm rolling this dough out and then cutting these into the shapes that I'm going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and get that oven preheated to 400. And these are going on ungreased cookie sheets. All right, so I've got my flour here on my counter. And we're going to get this dough out of here. It's easiest to just kind of go in with your hand and get all this out. All right, that looks pretty good to me. And then the rolling pin's going to need some flour as well. So that's fine. Roll it around. And you can use a bigger rolling pin than this, but you want to roll this out. We don't want to make it too thin, but we don't want it to be too thick either. If it starts to get sticky on your rolling pin, then just add a little bit more flour. Alright, got some cookie cutters here, just gonna dip it in the flour. I'm going to go right along the edge here. And you just kind of peel the dough away from the cookie cutter. And you should be left with a nicely shaped cookie. It's about, that's how thick it is. And I'm just going to place it straight onto my baking sheet. So I'm going to get all these cut out, and then I'll show you what they look like on the baking sheet. All right. So these are all on the cookie sheet. When I got tired of using cookie cutters, I just grabbed a wine glass and used it to make some circles. I'm gonna throw these in. The oven is at 400 and they're gonna go in for, said 6 to 8 minutes. So I'm just gonna put them in for 7 minutes. Once they come out, just cool them on a baking rack. And then if you want to decorate them, you can. All right, the first batch is done. So I'm gonna get these out. We wanna leave them on the baking tray for like 2 minutes or so before we take them off and put them on a cooling rack. So there they are. Here's my little gingerbread people. And some stars. And then just some circles. And you can see it's got that crispy bottom on there. I will show you what they look like after I take them off the sheet. So just let them sit for about 2 minutes. Meanwhile, I've cut the rest of the dough out into circles, and I'm gonna put those in after I remove these and give them 7 minutes. Okay, so it's been a couple minutes, and as you can see, the bottoms are nice and browned, and I'm just gonna take a spatula and put those over on the cooling trays, but they should come up with no problem. All right, the second batch is now done. We're gonna do the same process. We're gonna let these sit for about 2 minutes before we remove them from the tray. And then that's gonna be it for our cookies. And of course, don't forget to clean up your mess. It is gonna make a mess on your mixer and your counter, but that's what cooking and baking is all about. So So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that you all will try this sugar cookie recipe out for your family this holiday season. Thanks for watching. If you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to hit the thumbs up if you're ready for holiday baking and all the goodies. All right, I'll catch y'all on the next one. Bye-bye.